Yes.
Yes.
Great.
On
And
my
so on
dashboard,
your
all I see is missing persons.
perfect, exactly. So both of y'all should only see missing persons because that's what you've been given access to. So let's go ahead and click it. And I've put myself in your organization. So we're all three of us are going to be looking at the same user interface, a missing persons
Okay.
user interface with no search lists. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
great.
2 seconds. The meeting started recording, y'all. So now it is recording.
Oh,
great.
fantastic.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Okay. So what we did is we started here, which this is the easy part. Everybody logged in. We started on the dashboard. The folks from DOH only saw missing persons, which is exactly what should be. And then we selected it. And here we are all on the same missing persons user interface because I'm in your organization. And so the first thing to do to search for missing people is you have to create a search list. So I want all three of us to create our own search list. So if y'all want to, you can select the add new list from here or go up here. It doesn't matter. But what I want y'all to do is get to the new search list, or excuse me, new list window, and go ahead and name it by your name. I'm going to call mine Suzanne's search list. And you guys can name your own. Now the event, so oh, I didn't add us to an event. I thought I did that. Hold on, guys. Let me do one thing. I have to add the organization to the event. In my head, I was thinking I didn't because you guys weren't going to have a facility, but you still need to be added to the event. We're going to update. So try refreshing your screen. I think that may do it rather than having to log in and out. And then going back into the event and seeing if it says Suzanne's
Hurricane Era. I'm seeing
Hurricane Erica. Perfect. That
Yes.
is our little test hurricane.
Okay. Got it.
Great. And now if you notice this description that says optional, you can put up to 400 characters. Type in a sentence that says maybe this is for demonstration purposes only. Use this box for informational purposes. So whatever's typed in here will be displayed inside the search list window. And I'm going to show you where that's at, as we go on through the demo. But what I want you to know is like maybe, more than one person is working in the same list and you want to convey information to them. That's kind of what this is about. None of it gets saved. Like if you were to delete this, it would go away forever. But let's go ahead and save then your search list. So I want you all to be right here with me where you've got your search list name, and then the status of that search list is going to say awaiting records. So there's Kim, she's awaiting records. And then Raj, we want you to be awaiting records as well.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting on Raj, I'll say this. So the search list, it's kind of like a shell. So I've got my search list, and then Kim, you have your search list. Any missing people that I load to my list is going to be completely segregated from all the people you load into your list, Kim. And then the reports that are generated are only going to be specific to your list, and the report I get is specific to my list. So that is kind of displaying another feature of this, like if there is a real activation and for whatever reason, maybe you want to separate your brain and spinal cord, folks into maybe regions, like here's the people who are missing in the Southeast versus, I don't know, Southwest, or maybe you do want to work those missing persons lists as individuals, and Kim, you'll have a list and Raj will have his own list and y'all work them separately. You can do that with this, or you can just put it all in one and just, call it, Hurricane Idalia search list or whatever.
Okay. So there's no crossing over of records from one list to another.
Okay. Exactly.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
So now that you can see the status here is awaiting records for your shell. This is like your shell. And so what we
Mhm.
need to do now is load files of missing people. So let's all click this little edit button. And it takes us back to the search list, window, which is now called the edit list window.
Mhm.
And down here, you can see that there is a template for you to download. Let's just go ahead and download that. This is something you'd probably do if there was a real activation. You download the template, right? You would take as much demographic information as you have for those people who are missing, which I'm going to assume you guys probably have all this information since, maybe not insurance, but I would think you'd have the full demographic information. So you would load it into your file, you'd type it in, you'd save it to your computer, and then you can go ahead now and drag it or, browse your file and load it. So what I'd like for us to do is go ahead and grab that, I think I called it, brain and spinal cord missing persons file. Let's go ahead and load that. Each one of us can load it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed a step here.
Oh,
Hang on one second, let me see. I had another sheet open. So I went into the edit button on my search list, and I clicked on download a template CSV file. Is that what I did?
Yeah.
And then I can save that file.
Well, what I was mentioning was that in a real activation, that's probably the steps you'd take. You'd download the template, you'd populate it with all the missing people, you'd save it to your computer, and then you'd load it into this search list. But because we're doing test stuff, I sent you guys, and maybe it's on the invite. If you go to the invitation and open it up, there's 2 missing persons files. One here, let me show you. And if you can just download these to your computer. So here's the missing persons file, and then here's one with errors. So if you could download that and save it to your computer, we're going to use that to load.
Okay.
Okay.
And take your time. We've got lots of time. Oh, Raj put his in, or he put something in. Oh, you did the template. I see
Template,
what
yeah.
you did, Raj, which works. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and load mine in. And so once I once I loaded it, you can see now the status turned to searching. Well, that was quick. And then it moved to complete. So we'll let Kim just loaded hers. It turned to searching. And it'll move into complete here in a minute. So before we do anything, let's do this one thing, or just watch me for a second. I'm going to go ahead and click on my search list name. And you can see here, this is Suzanne's search list. And here's that description of that information that this is for demo purposes. So that's where it'll be displayed. The event will always be here. And now here's the missing persons file. You can see that I have loaded a file. We've only loaded one. It was me who did it. Here's my date and time. Now there's a few columns here that give you a little more information. So the number of demographics means that I had 10 people or 10 people who were on my missing persons file, the spreadsheet we loaded. They were successfully added to Suzanne's search list. There were 0, this is the number of errors. There were 0 people on my missing persons file who were not added to my search list. This would tell you if there were issues with a person's demographics and they weren't successfully added, it would be a number here. And if there were errors, there'd be an error log. Here's your file status. This will go, I think, progress, complete. If it says error, if you see file status that says error, try loading it again. If you continue to get an error button, go ahead and contact us, because that shouldn't be the case. It should be just a momentary kind of glitch with something. Okay, so each one of y'all can see it'll show the same thing, right? And so you loaded, oh, you put the one with errors. Perfect. That's okay.
Mhm.
We'll do that. We'll show that one. So you got one with errors, so you're going to have an error log. And then Raj, you had just the one that had the individual who's on the template who we haven't checked in anywhere, so it makes sense he's not going to be found. So let's take a look. We can all now download the report. You'll see here it gives you like high level information. Raj, your one person was not found. Kim, you found 1 of 1. And I have found 10 of 10. Here's the date and time the report was generated. This will update. So E+, the reports that are generated, here, let me say it like this. When you load a list of missing people into the system, E+ will immediately search for them. After that, the searches are scheduled, and we are going to schedule them on a every 4 hours. It's either going to be 4 or 6 hours. There's going to be a scheduled search. And every time there's a search, of course, the report is going to get updated. So it will override whatever report was there. So if, let's say, here we got our report at 1:15, let's say the next scheduled run is at 6 p.m., then you're going to see Suzanne's search list. The new report is going to be updated at 6 p.m. and it's going to override whatever report was there. Just for,
Okay.
informational purposes. So, in case maybe you want to download it and save it and then for whatever reason. So I'm going to download the report so we can just walk through it. And y'all stop me if I'm talking too fast or if you have any questions.
Sure.
I mean, and I don't know if it's easier for y'all just to look at my screen versus, pulling your own report. Let me go in. All right. So here we got in the first column, the search time. This is when E+ last searched for these individuals. Then you've got all the missing people and their demographic information. O tells you when they were added to the system to E+. Search count, like I'd mentioned, initial search upon loading of the file. And then after that, it's on a scheduled basis. So E+ will keep count of how many times they've been searched for. So this obviously was our first search. And if they were found, there's going to be this initial time where we found them, and E+ is going to keep that track of that time. R is going to tell you if they're found or not found. If they're not found, then you won't see any more information populated in this file. If they're found, you're going to see the last seen facility, the latest event type. Is it a discharge, admission, or a registration? That latest event time. Patient class, which it'll be an inpatient or an emergency or an outpatient we have. Maybe they were found in an urgent care center. I guess that would be outpatient. We've got the admit time, if that's applicable. So we don't use admit time for our special needs shelters. That's really just a registration. So it's really an inpatient you should see or an emergency where you're going to have an admit time. The discharge time, that, obviously if they've been discharged, that's going to populate. And then if the next columns, they should be populated. If they're, or excuse me, I should say, if the hospital or the shelter has populated these fields, then it'll be displayed in the report. You have the disposition, the discharge to location. If they expired during their stay, there'll be a death indicator and then your time or date of death. And then there's this error. Don't worry about that. That is for technical purposes. In case there's some kind of problem with the report, this will be able to trigger the folks in the background who are working on it, what to look at. So that's the report. Do y'all have any questions on that?
Yes, I do have a question. On the column P, search count, the first time that it's run through the system, it's going to show a search count number 1.
Yes.
With the next column, the next couple columns with all the information. So then if the report runs 4 hours or 6 hours later, whatever you set it at, then anybody who was not found on the first run, the search count would then change to 2 with an updated status, correct?
Yes, unless we didn't find them. So you can imagine, let's say this, let's say here's this person here who's in Child's High School, a special needs shelter.
Mhm.
First, let's say the first search, we find them at the special needs shelter. And then
Mhm.
after that, within the next few hours, they're like, oh my God, this person is in need of like, higher level of care. And they transport the individual to a hospital. And let's say on the second search, then they have been found at, Tallahassee Memorial, and
Okay.
there could be an
So
admission.
it
So
shows
that could,
search number 2,
mm,
last seen facility would be Tallahassee Memorial Hospital
it could
as
be,
an
yeah.
admission. Okay.
And so that's how we know. And then the initial found time though will always remain the same because we still first
Mhm.
found that person at Child's High School.
At the Child's High School. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, and not found obviously could change to found. And if there was no change to the person's, they're still at
Mhm.
this, been discharged. This is the last thing we heard. It'll just stay that way, even if it searches 5 times.
Okay.
Cool. Great question. All right, is that it, guys? How does it, y'all feeling okay about this?
Yes, this I'm good with this. Is there any API or anything that we can integrate with our application?
An API, is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yes.
Oh, like with your own?
Yes. Instead of coming to your portal and uploading the file, instead of doing that, is there any way we can integrate with your application and automatically send the file to you and send the results back to
Interesting. Yeah, the
our
missing persons.
missing
I'm
persons?
gonna put that down because actually you're now our third request for an API, kind of some type of integration. And the vendor has scheduled for the fall. So in the next couple months, they're gonna start discussing internally about the potential for an API. So what I want to do is make note that you guys are also requesting the same.
Yes. Just want to make
Right
because
now, we don't have that ability, but this is perfect timing because this is going to be their first initial discussion. And now I can say we've got another end user who's interested. Great, thank you.
okay. Thank you.
All right. So now what I'd like to do, so we've got, let's see, we all have this. So let's do this because I do want to show you how to add, because you can add more people to your search list. So Kim, what I'd like you to do, since you added the one with errors, well, no, because then you can't edit. I want you to edit your error log. Well, hold on, this will be a good test. Let's go ahead and go into our search list because I want to say let's add people. Let's say you loaded your list of people, Raj, you didn't find that one person, but 10 new people have been reported missing to you. I want you to load the file that I just loaded, the brain and spinal cord missing persons file. Kim, you had some errors, but we're going to edit that later. I want you to load that file too, that the brain and spinal cord missing persons, and I'm going to load the one that has errors, just so I can show you how to walk through. You can keep adding people to your file.
All right, which file am I loading? The BSCIP missing person file?
Yeah, that one, exactly.
Oh, I thought I had already done that.
You loaded the one with errors, I think, because I think that one.
It says 1 of 1, but I thought I loaded both files.
Let me see.
Huh.
I think it's this is the one with the
That's
errors.
the error one. Okay, well, I'll do it again. Awesome.
So, loading with missing person template, not template, the BSCIP.
How are you, or Bertha? That's so interesting. Oh, is that, because yeah. I'm sitting here thinking of Aunt Bertha, the SDOH. Okay, Kim, I can see you loaded it and it's already searched and completed.
Mhm.
So I'm going to pull up your search list. You can see here now you've loaded 2 files. The first file you
Mhm.
loaded, 1 person was successfully loaded, 4 had errors. Your second file, all 10 people were successfully loaded. So now if you go back to your screen, you can see here, because you added 11 people total, you have found 11 of those 11.
Mhm.
And if we downloaded your missing persons file now, we've got the total of 11 people. And here's the interesting part, which I guess this is good to talk about it. Hold on, let me. Okay, so you'll see it's the same exact file, right? Now,
Mhm.
here's what I want to make sure y'all understand. So look at the search count. It's still 1, right? So
Correct.
I mentioned earlier, when you load people in, the first time you load them, E+ does a search.
Mhm.
And so you can see now there were 10 people you already searched for, or 1 person, right, that you already searched for, and you added 10. So E+ didn't search again for that 1 person that you already loaded. It only
Okay.
searched for the 10 new people you loaded for. So now everyone's got a search count of 1,
Okay.
and they'll only all be searched again at the next frequency. I mean, maybe too much technical information, but I don't want you to get lost in that. But now you've got 11 people on your missing persons file. Everyone was found, which is great.
So in order for us to access both files that I uploaded,
Mm-hmm.
I clicked under my name, Kim B
Uh-huh.
search list, and I see those 2 files. Now, how do I open one of them?
Yeah,
I
that's
just click
the.
on the,
So
you
you
can't
can't.
open it.
So that's one of the things. We used to be able to in the old version of missing persons, but we couldn't load. We'd override missing person. So that's kind of like we had to do a trade-off here. So your missing persons file, that's just going to be saved to your computer.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So then the only report that I can open from the list box is that CSV that report. Click on that,
Clear
and then I
air.
open up the download file, correct? And that's giving me all 11 people.
Oh yeah, here, right, this one.
Okay.
This is your report. Yep, it includes everyone.
Mhm.
But for example, in future, if I have a 20 files uploaded, is there any way I can individually check the each file results? So I have to check all the 20 files results at once.
Yeah, it would be if you had, well, if you wanted to somehow separate them, Raj, maybe that would be a reason why you'd create different search lists. You'd add one file to one list, another file to the other list, so you could separate them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but once they're all combined into one list, you're only going to get one report that combines all total people and all the files you've loaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one thing I have noticed is like, oh, who did we load? Which people did we load? That file, if that's the question you're going to ask, did we already load Jane? I think then you'd want to go back and look into your missing persons file. And maybe that would be something like a process y'all want to create internally for an activation. Like we have a particular disaster response folder, and it was like disaster event, and we named the event. It was Idalia. And then underneath that, we have a folder for like missing persons files, and so you always know, and you can call it like however you want to do it, like Idalia missing persons file and date it. Something like that. Maybe if you want to make sure you know who you've loaded in there, although you'll see them on the report, but you won't know. I don't know if it matters when you loaded them. Did I load them first or, well, actually, hold on, you would. What time you loaded them. So there's a little bit of a difference, right? So this is the first person you loaded, Kim,
Mhm.
Okay.
or Raj. Maybe that was Raj. Yeah,
I
Raj.
think-
Because you had a different time. So that would be a way to figure out.
Got it.
And they'll never
So
go.
I-
Maybe I should make that point too. Once you load someone into your search list, they're never going to
Mhm.
drop off your report. Like even if we found them, they're
Okay.
just going to continue to persist there until the end of the event and everything's closed.
So Raj, I'm thinking if, we would do something like, create a list for each region, region 1, region 2,
Region
region
2.
3, region 4, region 5, and then just upload to those lists because they would not be combined into the other regions. They would stay
That's correct.
individual, correct?
Exactly.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
That's correct.
Awesome.
that might be the way, yeah, I think that would
Yeah.
probably be,
That makes sense, Kim.
okay.
And
Fantastic.
is there any way we can upload the multiple files? It has to
No,
be one.
I don't think that's possible. But you could load, you could load, watch, one, let's see, I'm just gonna repeat, or hold on, I probably have other missing persons files. I'm gonna load test. And let me see if I can load one right away. I loaded test, now let me load. That one with errors.
No, same file, two files at same time.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
do two at
oh.
once, but you can do them pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
what I thought I did was upload 2 at once and it didn't. That's why it only showed 1 initially. Okay.
oh, okay.
Now, the one thing too, I want to show y'all what to do if you get errors. So I think, let me make sure. Kim, you can download yours. Raj, will you load that missing persons file that says with errors so
Okay,
you can
I'm gonna
pull your
load.
own report?
Sure.
And I think I've got
Okay, so I
yours.
have it. I have my error list open.
Awesome. I'm gonna make expand it. And let Raj catch up here. Let's see.
Yes. I can also open error messages. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So open it up and you can see here, whoops, is that that's not it. Don't save. Where's my one with errors? Or was that it? Oh, that was it. I'm sorry. I thought it was a different thing. All right. So now the great thing about this error log, if you notice, it is in the exact same format as a missing persons file, with the exception of this column. So what we recommend doing is if you have some sort of error and you download your log, that error log, the column is going to tell you what's wrong with that record. And
Okay.
this one's saying it's missing the minimum number of fields. Now, in missing persons, you have to have a last name and a first name. That is the only
Okay.
two that if you're missing that, it won't let you. So let's just pretend Alexandra's name is Smith. Well, I'm going to go ahead and fill in Smith, and then I'm going to just delete this, so that's gone. And then this individual, the second one, she is missing her first name, and you have to have a first name.
Okay.
So we're going to
Okay.
put Jane. And I'm going to get rid of this, just so I know I did it.
Okay.
The third one, we've got date of birth is not valid. If we look there, oh, it's missing a date of, like it's 1940 what? I think it's 1944.
Okay.
And so I'm going to delete that. And then we've got zip code must contain 5 or 9 digits, and our zip code contains 4. So maybe we stick a 0. And now that's gone. And so now we've fixed all of our errors. And now we can use this first. But before we do, because we can just load this as a new file. But I'm just going to delete this column here because E+ won't accept it with that error 1 column. But now I can take it, I can save it. And I'm just gonna put in my test data. I'm gonna call it fixed. Oops. All right, and I can close it now, and I'm just gonna load it. I'm like, let's go find
Okay.
these 4 people that were. So close out of here. I go back to my list, browse my file. Here's my error that's been fixed. Oh, and one thing while I've got this screen open. So if there was something wrong with my file, for example, let's say I forgot to delete that error 1 column, E+ is going to give you a red file format's not right. If
Okay.
you, another thing you might do by accident is see how it's a CSV file. E+ won't accept like an Excel. So, you know, the template comes in CSV file format. So you're good as long as you save it. But if for some reason, let's say you open up and do something funky and save it as Excel, it'll tell you there too, like file format. It'll give you a big
Gotcha.
red. Yeah. All right. So now I loaded my 4 people that I corrected. Oh no, don't mess up now.
So then it should be 26 of 26. Because it's gonna add those 4 to your
And I'm
existing report, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's
Okay.
see though, I can't remember if I checked them into a shelter. They may not be found. But oh no, is y'all's computer doing this or is it just me? Come on,
It must
baby.
be just you because,
Did you do it? Yeah.
no, I
It's been
didn't do
like this.
anything.
Okay, for all week. So have you tried to load your error file?
The fixed error file? No.
Yeah. Can you try and load that fixed error file? I want to see if you can do it. Because
Okay.
yeah, I had 2 demos this week and I had to get the vendor to do the demo because my user interface just wasn't working right. Yeah, mine's not. I'm stuck.
All right, let's see if we do an edit and
Okay, let me.
and where did I save that?
Yeah, I think look like same thing for me too. The missing person.
Oh, you're getting stuck too?
Yes.
Oh, well. I mean, it's at least you see how to edit that error log.
Say
But I'm
unable
glad it's
to
not just
update the
me.
search.
You weren't able to?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna. All right.
Mine's
No,
not loading either.
I think
Yeah.
application. Oh,
It's interesting, and maybe you know what it could be, because this week the vendors releasing a new update, and we gave them our demo. But I'm like, maybe I didn't put the training for them, so they could be doing stuff in the background. But I'll let them know just in case, because there's definitely been some
Okay.
stuff going on with the training site. But in terms of us, like, do y'all, you guys kind of get that feel, right, of how to fix an error log and
Right.
how you can,
yes.
yeah, and
Right.
just just so
Right.
you know, you saw the one error one column. You can actually, if you have multiple issues with one record, there'll be more than one error column. It'll say, you know, error
Okay.
one, your zip code's messed up. Error two, you got the birth date messed up. So it'll give you all that.
So it'll give you all that, and then you just go through and fix the issues and clear all of those error
Columns.
columns out.
Yep. And then load it
Okay.
right back up.
Okay, I have
Okay.
a quick question here.
Okay.
For example, the first record, Austin Chris. So we don't want to put into the list, no longer want to put into the list. So we want to remove from the search list. How we can remove?
You can't. Yeah, once a person has been loaded, at this point, yeah, they persist until, you know, we're done with the event. And then we close everything out and then it gets wiped up.
Oh, in that case, we need to create a new search list because see, in this event, in the Raj search list, for example, so I have almost 100 people are looking for that. So out of 100, I already found the 50%. So I no longer want to search them because I identified and so we are good with those 50, and the remaining 50 only I need to searching for remaining 50%. So what, as of I understand, I need to create a new list of 50% and create and upload a new list.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to segregate them like that without editing your file, because I can imagine, you know, you've got, you know, a file, whoops. Oh, I guess now. And it's kind of cumbersome because you keep seeing the same 50 people that you don't want to look at anymore. You know, that would be one way, you know, you would just create a new search list, take the 50 people you want to continue to search for and put them in that search list. You know, I guess alternatively, maybe when you download, even though then you just have to manipulate the file, you know, you could somehow sort it so the 50 people you don't want to look at, you filter out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe you do something like that.
Yeah, I can't do that. Filter out is a manual process, so 50 people identify and
It's
filtering
gonna
is
be either way, you're
not
gonna have to
possible.
do a little,
That's true.
Yeah, I can tell, Raj, you like things automated.
Yeah, because I'm IT.
Right, right.
I have a question.
Sure.
In creating a new list, I see that event is required field. And will these events be created by
We will.
plus missing persons? Okay.
Aka
So we
will.
don't need to go in. Okay. So we don't need to go in, or we cannot go in and create our own event.
Exactly. You don't have that
Okay.
ability. But if you were, let's
Gotcha.
say we're in a real activation, right? And you guys go to create your list name and like, remember how when we first started, there was nothing to select and I was like, oops, I forgot to
Right.
add you to the event. That would
Right.
be a, oops, Aka didn't add us to the event. You know, call us up. That would be like a, hey, Aka, add us to the event. Even though I don't think we were going to do that, but in case we did miss you, it's a really quick, easy thing. You know,
Okay.
I showed you earlier. You
Yeah.
just go to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was very quick to add that in. Okay. No, I just wanted to double check on that. I had a feeling you guys would have your list of active events for each event or activation emergency, and then we would be able to pick that event to do our searching through.
Exactly. And
Okay.
God forbid there is, because I'm assuming you have statewide folks. So
Yes.
there could always be the potential that there's two activations going on, you know, and maybe some people are missing because of one and others for the other. So then at that point, you know, you would just select whatever's appropriate for your list.
And would you be able to do both as a crossover? If somebody like lives on a border of both events, they might be in one or both regions.
You know, I don't know. I'm going to ask the vendor though, like what happens if they're, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to guess, I'm probably, you know, guessing you're just going to have to pick one event or the other, you know? And really, I mean, picking the event is really just for auditing purposes. And if we close one event, so you probably do want to still, because I was going to say it may not matter if there's 2 events, you just want to select one, but it would matter because imagine you've got 2 activations and one activation, we end up shutting it down because everything's done. But you know, the other activation continues on. So you wouldn't want all of your missing persons file connected with the activation that we close, because then you wouldn't be able to use the system anymore. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So then we could create a new list in the secondary event if we're still missing people. Okay. That's and I understand having to choose it as a second event and a list for each one. So that, yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Well,
'Cause I can
guys,
see that happening.
yeah, I can too, because y'all are statewide and it's like a 2004. One thing I did just want to highlight this. It's there attached to the invite too, along with the PowerPoint. But if y'all want to print this, we kind of made it in this fashion so you could always print it if you're, at some kind of, command center or something. And it gives you a little more like, here's the step-by-step, right? Editing the error log, downloading the report. And it also tells you, if I don't think this is going to be applicable to you because I think you've got all their data, but for some people who are collecting like, family members' information, like this tells you what to do if you don't know if it's called Smith or Smythe, and so it just gives you those little bitty tidbits of information. And then here is just, again, it explains that report if you needed it.
Nice. And see, I'm one of the types of people that I like to have all my directions printed out in hard copy because I'm on satellite internet.
Oh, just in case.
I like to have that hard copy in front of me.
Perfect.
So
awesome.
I will be printing this out.
Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, if there's no more questions, I think we're good.
I have one question, last question maybe. Okay, this patient, the missing member going to be searched is only the Florida statewide or it's the entire the US country?
Yeah, this is only for Florida. And in fact, I can give you guys a list of all the data sources that we can currently locate people in.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, it's strictly Florida. All the healthcare facilities that provide the encounter notification service with encounter data, we query those folks, and as well as some of the special needs shelters in Florida. The ones. So, are y'all familiar with your state registry, the special needs registry, the statewide special needs registry?
I am not. No.
No.
Kimberly Robinson might be.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have an agreement with y'all so some of the counties, when they operate a special needs shelter, they have chosen to use y'all's special needs registry to do intake. There's like a little module, an intake module. And when they check people in and out using the state registry, y'all's state registry, we get that data and we load it into E+. So the missing persons can also find people at a shelter, at a special needs shelter, but only the ones that are using y'all's registry. And that is kind of, it's not firm what counties are using it and what aren't. But I think more people have adopted it this year than last. So, but I'll send you that data. In fact, I'm going to, right when we get off the call, I'll go ahead and load the data source file to that meeting, so it's always there and y'all can download it.
Okay,
Sounds good.
perfect.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both for your time. I appreciate it, and reach out to us if you need anything.
Sure. Appreciate it for
Fantastic.
your
We
time.
will do, Suzanne. Thank you
Great.
for all your time.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, my pleasure. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.